If 2025 was the year of trying to fall back in love with reading, 2026 is going to be the year of finishing things. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Sam, and there's a cat right in front of me. Come here. You're gonna be here. You might as well say hello to the people. Yeah. Is that so? Okay. Fair enough. So, for the year of 2026, I am changing up some things. And generally, you may have seen some of it, but the things that I'm going to be changing up are going to be kind of in relation to my reading habits. And it's also going to affect this channel in that I'm going to be trying a couple new things I've kind of dabbled in the past but never fully committed to. So I've made a list and let's just go through it really quickly. First off, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe and like, comment, all that good stuff. It really does help me out in the long run. So that way I can keep going and keep posting these videos because I find them entertaining, if nothing else. And they hold me accountable. So my first general goal for 2026 is that I do want to read 75 books. Like, that is my general goal. That's been my goal. That was my goal last year. I think that was my goal the year before. I may read more, I may be less. For some reason, 75 is the number I've just kind of decided that I'm going to be setting it at. I don't read nearly as many books as I used to before I was in grad school, and I read a little bit more intentionally now. I read a little bit slower now, and I have a lot of other things that I do on top of reading, so I just don't get through the 150 books that I used to. So, and it's something that I have had to come to terms with, and because of that, what I also have had to come to terms with is that I have books on my shelves that I may never get to. And so my job as I'm trying to go through my shelves is that I'm going to have to get rid of ones that I haven't read yet. And that's, while heartbreaking at times, that's also something that I'm going to have to get used to. As far as speaking about the books that are on my shelves, another goal is that I would like to read the books that I own. I have an extraordinary amount of books, and I know some people have more, some people have less. That's generally how it works. I have over 800 books in this house, and there's another at least 200 at my parents' house that did not fit at this house. And I have piles on the floor. I have shelves that are really messy. You can kind of see them. I've kind of tried to find a spot that's not too bad, but like there's a huge gap right here. Like, they're messy. The shelves are not clean. I am going to be doing a bookshelf reorganization, but the problem with doing that is that not all my bookshelves are in one room. A lot of them are kind of spread throughout the house because my husband and I, we do decorate with books to a point. We have books in almost every single room in our house. That is a way that I was brought up, and when I presented it to him, he was like, yeah, let's go. I'm down for that one. He had two rules as far as he had two rules when we first moved in together about books. He has no problem with me having a bunch of books, and we respect each other's rules and each other's requests. His two requests were, one, no books on the stairs, like in hallways blocking walkways, which makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I'm down for that one. And the second one was that if he asks for a book to read off the shelves, I can hand it to him, or he can read anything on my shelves, essentially. And if he asks, I can probably tell him at least what it's vaguely about. So, and I do my best to do that. So my goal is to keep up with those promises and to not get to the point where I have books on the stairs because there's nowhere else left to put them. So we're trying to kind of, I don't want to say diminish my collection, but wheedle it down to books that I know we enjoy, that I know like hold special place, that either we're going to reread or I want to have these trophies on my shelves. Because let's be honest, there's nothing wrong with having trophies on your shelves. Going along with this, I am limiting my book hauls this year. This is something that I started not really fully consciously last year, but I just haven't been buying nearly as many books. Like, I've gone to Barnes & Noble or to, no, I haven't really, or to Half Price I've gone to, where I haven't bought anything, where I've come out with nothing in my hands. The indie bookstore is not quite so much because they tend to have books that I don't see otherwise. But I have been doing much better at not buying books. I'm also trying not to give in to the hype. So I'm trying to read books that interest me, not just books that I have been told would be good or that are super popular, and that's why I have them. I have them because to me they sound interesting and they sound like something I would enjoy. I'm trying to wheedle down my collection, again, to books that I will enjoy and books that I do enjoy and that I want to read. So that is my goal here, is to bring this huge collection down to, it still might be a large collection, but it's going to be a collection of books that have a meaning for me. Now, that does mean that I'm going to disappoint some people and I'm not going to read certain books because they just hold no interest for me. So I'm gonna be the bad guy right here. I'm probably never gonna read ACOTAR, but it's mostly because I tried reading the first book a couple times and I can't get through it, and I have no interest in trying again. And that's just for me. That's me. That's a very unpopular opinion. People really don't like it when I say that, but that's where I'm at with like those kinds of books. I do read some hype books. I do read some popular books, but I also know there's a whole bunch of other books that are just so underrated, and I also want to read those as well. So I'm trying to be more mindful about what books I'm picking up, what books I'm reading, and what books I'm keeping versus what I'm giving away, or what I'm putting in little libraries, or what I'm giving back to half price, depending on what it is. As I mentioned before, my bookshelves are a mess, and because I do want to organize these as well, once I get them organized, I would like to maintain that organization, and I would like to do probably a bookshelf reorganize maybe once a year or so, and so that way I'm not trying to like fit things on my shelves, I'm not shoving things into little corners, and just I would like it to be a place where I enjoy being, and I want it to be that throughout my house, and not just in the library, but also in the office, in the spare room, wherever we have books. I would like them to be organized and accessible, so that way you can read them, because that is the point of having them, generally speaking. Going along with this, I have so many series that I have started and not finished. I need to start catching up on those, and whether that means that I do a series here on YouTube where I like spend a whole video just finishing a series, then I guess I can do that. Maybe I should, honestly. That might not be a bad idea. But I have like 6-7 book series on my shelf that are taking up space. I have no idea if I like them because I've read maybe one book. Or maybe I really liked the first book, but I might not like the ending of the series. I won't know until I read them, and I need to read them. So yes, that is a big goal for this year. I also do subscribe to 2 book boxes total. I get Book of the Month, which I have gotten for a very long time. I don't even know how long. And then I get the Broken Binding. Now the Broken Binding sends out 1 book from a series every month. Like consistently. Like they pick a series and that is your next like 3 months. I think the one that I'm getting this month is going to be The Bone Shard Daughter. So it's the start of that trilogy, and then this month you get the first one, and next month the second one, and it keeps going like that. And they choose series, you can opt out. And I want to also not be afraid to opt out of series for the book box. I have gotten better with Book of the Month, where if there isn't a book on their list that interests me, I do skip the month. And I have skipped months several times. So I just want to continue doing that, being mindful about what I bring into the house and what I send out as well. A way that I have kind of decided that I might be able to get through some of these is something that I started trying this month, and it's going to be 24-hour long readathons. And basically what I'm going to do, since I'm over 30, I do not do these in 1 or 2 days. I do not stay up for 24 hours straight. That would just be a disaster waiting to happen. I'm taking my 2 or 3 day weekends, and I'm going to try and read for 24 hours in 3 days. I'm giving myself 3 days because I know myself. I don't sit well for extended periods of time, and I have a bad I read faster than audiobooks a lot of the time. Even when I speed them up, it's a constant just the way my brain works. So I'm going to try and do more of these readathons every month. My goal is to do 1 24-hour readathon each month, or at least do 1 fully reading for a certain number of hours every month, and see if I can get into the habit of doing that. Maybe it'll end up being every other month kind of thing. I'm not sure. Right now we're gonna try it every month and see how it goes. Watch, I forget after the first month. Not the point. But then the other big thing, and this is something that I'm working on, I'm getting there, is to not be afraid to DNF books and to not be afraid to unhaul them. Now, I do DNF books. I have never really had a full problem with doing it, but what I need to remember to do is that if I have no interest in a book, I do not want to force myself to read it. And that I know is something that's very difficult to do, and that's something that is very difficult to do when you're on social media because of pressure from everybody on the outside. It's me reading the book, it's not somebody else. If I'm not going to enjoy it, no one's going to have a good time here. So that's where we're going. I am going to try and do that. Unhauling books because I'm not going to read them, even if I enjoyed them, it might happen. So that's what I'm getting into. Again, I really want this year to be the year of finishing things, of finishing series, of catching up on the books that I have, rather than simply bringing in hundreds more books and then being like, oh, I wonder why I didn't catch up on my TBR. I won't catch up on it this year. I know that for a fact. I did a very rough version of a shelf tracker to track how many books I have that I've read versus not, and I've read less than half of the books that I own. So it'll be a while before I catch up on these books. So my goal is not to catch up on my TBR because I know I'm not going to this year. I'm not going to set unrealistic expectations for myself. If I get through over 100 books, that's awesome. If I don't, that also happens. So I'm trying not to have my life being dictated by the numbers, being dictated by the internet or by what other people are saying. I would like to have the control to do it myself. So those are my goals for 2026. I hope those made sense. I just kind of ended up, I made a little list here in my notebook. So I have my little list right here, and then I just went on a long rant that lasted like 10 minutes. So I hope that made sense. If it did, like I said, please subscribe, like, comment, definitely, interact somehow. And until next time, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, keep reading, and keep moving forward. Bye.